The Pitchsider. Pitchside for every game.
Welcome back, football fans, to week 2 of the Pitchsider Podcast. I'm your host, Joe, and we're here to dive deep into the action from another thrilling week of football, from stunning upsets to last-minute heroics. We've got it all covered. Whether your team came on top or is still searching for its first win, we're here to break down the key moments, standout performances, and what it is all means for the season ahead. So grab your favourite drink, get comfortable, and let's kick off another exciting episode of the Pitchsider Podcast. So I hope you are well. Welcome back. So we've had this week the start of the Premier League, which is always a big moment for a lot of clubs, whether they can get off to their first win or not. We've had the second week of the Championship, and we've also had some football action from Spain, Italy, and some Bundesliga Cup games, I think, and maybe the start of Liga 1 as well. So definitely a lot to talk about. And also, we are still in the midst of a transfer window. So that means Chelsea can still replenish their starting 11, get a whole new 11 players, and add to that 45 players that is currently in their squad. So let's start this week off with the Premier League. So we'll run as normal. We'll run through some of the fixtures and then talk about some of the key games that happened this weekend, from the biggest clash, which is Chelsea versus City versus Chelsea, as well as United versus Fulham. So the Premier League kicked off on Friday with Manchester United hosting Fulham, which led to a 1-0 debut goal from Xerxes against Fulham, so it was 1-0 United. Ipswich Town hosted Liverpool. Liverpool beat them 2-0 to the Ipswich newcomers. Arsenal beat Wolves 2-0. Brighton beat Everton 3-0. Southampton lost to Newcastle 1-0. Nottingham Forest and Bournemouth drew 1-1. And Villa beat West Ham in a thrilling game of 2-1. On Sunday, Super Sunday, as Sky put it, Brentford beat Crystal Palace 2-1. Man City beat Chelsea 2-0, which everyone saw this coming. Maybe a bigger defeat could have happened there. And as this podcast goes out tonight, Leicester do place host to Tottenham. So big game there. Tottenham seeing obviously their £65 million striker, possibly a replacement for Harry Kane in Dominic Solanke. So it'd be interesting to see how he gets on. But yeah, let's go all the way back to Friday. As mentioned, Xerxes got his first goal for United against Garnacho. Manchester United new boy became an instant Old Trafford hero after he scored an 87th minute winner against Fulham. The former Bologna striker came on with Garnacho after an hour as United struggled to find a breakthrough on Marco Silva's side, as the pair combined in the nick of time as the Argentinian wonder-kid winger crossed from the right, and Xerxes calmly steered the ball into the bottom corner in a hammer blow for Fulham. Fulham obviously have had some big signings, known but sort of ML Smith-Rowe. He is obviously their new signing, but yeah, interesting to see how United do. They seem to struggle a little bit in this game. But yeah, it was nice to see some of their starting players and some of their new signings come in onto this. Obviously, then on Saturday, Ipswich held their own against Liverpool. Liverpool scored 2 second-half winners, goals from Salah and Jota. Salah obviously getting the assist for Jota's goal, which led them to the top of the Premier League. Arsenal beat Wolverhampton 2-0 with Kai Havertz and Bukayo Saka getting 2 goals as Arsenal keep their first clean sheet of the season and progress their way up comfortably to the table to hopefully challenge for the title. Brighton beat Everton, so Everton had a red card in the 65th minute. Menteto, Welbeck and Andrew all scored as Everton Brighton go very top with a 3-0 goal difference over the rest. But yeah, unfortunate for Everton getting their first defeat and also picking up a red card. Newcastle started off the season as they wanted to with 3 points with their 1-0 win over Southampton. Forest and Bournemouth drew obviously 1-0 with Chris Wood and Samu getting the goals. Nottingham Forest were ahead a lot of the game. But yeah, both of these teams you would likely struggle in the Premier League. Aston Villa, after heavy investment, especially from the signing Onana, which cost him over £50 million. He scored on his debut after 4 minutes on the pitch. It was from a corner, with Tielemans getting the assist, with Duran finishing it off in the 79th minute. West Ham obviously got a penalty to bring it 1-0 to go in at half-time 1-1, but yeah, Aston Villa were too strong, and Aston Villa start on the season 3 points as they look to continue their success in the top 4. Be interesting to see how well they can do this season with the Champions League football coming up as well. On Sunday, just Brentford versus Palace. So there was a couple of new Premier League managers, referees, and one of the matches was on this. Eze found a net from a direct wide free kick, but referee Sam Barrett had already blown the whistle before the foul, before the ball had crossed the line. But yeah, this led to sort of an interesting debate. It wasn't a foul. Will Hughes, I believe, tripped one of the other players, potentially blocking one of the Brentford players, but it was deemed after the game that it wouldn't have been. So this would have counted, but due to the new rules in the Premier League, because the whistle had got blown before the ball had crossed the goal line, it didn't count. So the ball was kind of still in motion. What should have really happened is would have let it play out, and then it should have been up to VAR to intervene, see whether it was a goal or not. But obviously where the whistle went before the goal went in, it wasn't able to be counted, but it was a hell of a shot from Eze. But yeah, this led to Brian Mbappe from Brentford scoring straight afterwards as he squeezed the ball in. And the Eagles got deserved equaliser as a Brentford defender, Pinnock, put a sort of own goal in, but then obviously Wissack managed to score a 78th winner after Henderson had kept out Nathan Collins' effort. And finally, the other game in the Premier League was the big one on Sunday, Man City versus Chelsea. Obviously, this was a pre-season game as well, which led to a 4-2 victory for City. But Man City managed to keep a clean sheet. Haaland scoring in 3 openings games in the season. Haaland in the 18th minute, and Kovacic managed to get an 84th minute worldie, which should have been saved by the keeper, but it wasn't. But yeah, this led to them going 3 points clear. Erling Haaland scored his 100th Man City appearance, so that's his 91st goal in 100 appearances, as Premier League champions began their title defence with a win. So yeah, this rough start for new Chelsea manager, but obviously playing the Premier League champions is very hard. So that's everything that happened in the Premier League. We'll do a quick roundup of what's gone. Looking at the table, obviously means absolutely nothing at the moment for the Premier League, but let's have a look at some of the games from the Championship. Might not go into as too much detail from here, but yeah, definitely we'll see what is going on in the Championship. If you'd like this to be a continued feature, the coverage of the Championship, as it is sort of a growing league now, please do let us know. But from the Championship, Coventry City beat Oxford United 3-2 on Friday. On Saturday, Derby beat Middlesbrough 1-0. Portsmouth and Luton drew 0-0, as well as Leeds and West Brom. Bristol City beat Millwall 4-3. Burnley got a 5-0 victory over Cardiff. Norwich and Blackburn drew 2-2. Plymouth, Argyle and Hull City drew 1-1, with Wayne Rooney's Plymouth getting their first points of the season. Sheffield and Queen Park Rangers drew 2-2. Swansea beat Preston North End 3-0. I think Preston North End are on their third manager of the season. Watford beat Stoke 3-0 on Sunday. Sunderland beat Sheffield Wednesday 4-0. And yeah, that is all of the games from there. Let's have a look at the Championship table quickly, as there's been 2 games played, so there's a little bit more to talk about here. But Burnley, Sunderland and Watford all remain unbeaten in the Championship with 6 points, as well as Blackburn, West Brom. So there's still a lot of teams that are unbeaten, but currently with 0 points is Millwall, Preston North End and Cardiff. All had 3 losses, but everyone else has managed to gain a point or 2. So yeah, definitely starting to shape up, and yeah, we will keep more coverage of that and go into more detail as the season progresses. So let's have a look at some European football now. So from the weekend, so La Liga started on Friday with Celta Vigo versus Deportes Alvarez, which was Celta Vigo 2-1 victory, and Las Palmas and Seville drew 2-2. The German had the DFO Polk, so there won't be any games from the Bundesliga this week, but from Ligue 1, PSG beat Le Havre 4-1. On Saturday, Oslo and Langes drew 1-0 with Barcelona and Valencia, and Barcelona won this 2-1. In the Serie A, Girona drew to Inter 2-0. Parma and Fiorentina drew 1-0. Empoli and Monza drew 0-0, and Milan and Turin was 2-2. Brest lost to Marseille 5-1, with Mason Greenwood getting his first goal of the season. Lille beat Reims 2-0. Monaco beat Saint Etienne 1-0. On Sunday in La Liga, Rayo Vallecano beat Real Sociedad 2-1, and Real Madrid and Mallorca drew 1-1. In Serie A, Bologna drew to Udinese 1-0. Hellas Verona beat Napoli 3-0. Cagliari and Roma drew 0-0, and Lazio beat Valencia 3-1. In Ligue 1, Anderlecht beat Nice 2-1. Lens beat Angers 1-0. Montpellier and Strasbourg drew 1-0. Toulouse and Nantes was 0-0. Rennes and Olympique Lyon was 3-0 to Rennes, with Rayo Vallecano beating Assuolo 1-0 at the moment, with Villarreal and Atletico Madrid still to play. Currently, Lecce is losing to Atalanta. Juventus will play New Boys at Como in the Serie A as well. So we won't look at any of the tables here, but we'll have a look at some of the headlines coming out from Europe. Mbappe's Real Madrid La Liga debut ends in a draw at Mallorca, so he wasn't able to really sort of push on there. Lewandowski's double at Barcelona helped, and then come from behind to beat Valencia. Conte apologises after opening defeat for his first game against Napoli. Champions Inter Milan were held by Granada at the opening day. Ex-Man U player Gomez is all good after a head injury. As mentioned, Greenwood scored on his debut, but he also scored 2. Bayer Leverkusen leaves it late to win the German Super Cup. PSG front Le Havre in their first match without Mbappe in a number of seasons. And yeah, Ajax beat Panvos after a 34 penalty shootout in the Europa League. So there is more sort of Champions League and that starting to come. Kane scores as Company starts as Bayern Reign with a win. And Mbappe scored in his debut in the Real Madrid win over Atalanta in the Super Cup. Just starting to get started in there from there. Let's have a look now at a quick sort of transfers from the last week since we've been on the air. So we'll just talk about some of the big ones, but obviously Matthias de Ligt and Nosser Mazzougli both signed from Bayern Munich to United. De Ligt was a £38.5 million, whereas the winger, the right back, was a £12.8 million. Junior Alvaro has joined Bournemouth for an Underglows fee, and Aaron Wan-Bissaka has joined West Ham from Manchester United for £15 million. Mainz have let go of Gude for Brighton, which cost them £25 million. Cameron Archer has joined Southampton for a £15 million fee. Bournemouth have signed Alvaro for $31.7 million, rising to $40 million with add-ons. Tottenham have signed Wilson Oboli from Burnley for $25 million. Calvin Phillips has joined Ipswich on loan from Man City. Nottingham Forest have signed Suso for $9.3 million from Talragi. Ipswich have signed Sasmos from Blackburn, and Leslie Ugochukwu has joined Southampton on loan. And as of today, Oliver Skipp has joined Leicester from Tottenham, as they do play each other for £20 million. So going through some of the sort of latest gossip, there's obviously one big story that has broken today, which is the Conor Gallagher and Felix deal. So this is very, very close to being completed now. Felix will join Chelsea as it has been agreed, and Fabrizio Romano has said here we go. So Gallagher will be making his return to Madrid to join Atletico Madrid. Nottingham Forest are working on a deal to sign Eddie Nketiah from Arsenal for a £25 million fee. Sterling is considering his options after being left out of Chelsea's first team for Man City on Sunday. Sterling is happy and settled, but was told by Friday by head coach that he would struggle to play regularly for this season after Chelsea have signed Neto. Ivan Toney could be moving to Saudi Arabia. Brighton have made a formal bid for Celtic's Matt O'Reilly. Everton are in talks with keeper Begovic over a return, a potential one-year deal after the 37-year-old became a free agent after leaving QPR at the end of the season. Sean Dyche believes Begovic's variance is key for the forthcoming season. Manchester United are not interested in pursuing for Toney. Man City want Pep to decide on whether to sign a new contract by Christmas. The Spaniard's contract is up at the end of the season. Forest, Villarreal, Seville, Valencia are all interested in Spanish defender and Aston Villa fullback Alex Moreno. Atletico Madrid have not ruled out a move for Jordi Garth as they deal for Chelsea's England midfielder Gallagher stalls. Fulham have reopened talks with Manchester United to sign Scott McTominay. Napoli sporting director has refused to rule out a move. Also, McConnelly, the Serie A club, have agreed to sign Brazilian winger Neves from Benfica. Las Palmas have made a formal bid for Fulham's Brazilian forward Vacanas, who is wanted by the Corinthians as well. And Palace, a deal for Chesley Ukareja, who Chukwuemeka, if they can get him on loan, will be a great deal and could be a potential, at least a replacement for them. So yeah, that brings you up to speed with all of the latest news from the football and all of the sort of Premier League, Championship, all the latest transfers. But if you want to keep update with day to day and can't wait for the next podcast to come out, please do check out our social media pages and our website for all the latest news, articles and gossip. They're definitely the places to be kept informed of everything. So thank you for listening. Hope you've really enjoyed this podcast. And yeah, have a great week. And we will see you next week for the return of Euorpe with the playoffs finals and also the return of the Premier League. So hope you have a fantastic week. Thank you for listening and goodbye.
For all the latest news, transfers and football articles, check out thepitchsider.com. It's the place to be. Contact us on our socials. Instagram and Twitter is @thepitchsider or via email is thepitchsider@hotmail.com.